How's it going, everybody? I'm meteorologist Joey Cragness back with your daily forecast. Today we have some more severe weather possible down in the Texas area, particularly DFW could see some hail and wind later on this afternoon and evening. OKC in that risk as well, around the same time frame we're looking at for storms possible there. So a few big metro areas under the risk for severe weather today. And then we also have a smaller, more conditional risk out in the Milwaukee area, bordering along the Chicago area for this afternoon and evening as well. And then as of right now, it looks like severe weather could be slowing down starting on Wednesday. It's looking like we're going to get a little bit of a ridge setting in, bringing in that heat with it as well, but reducing the severe weather risk for at least the near future is what it's looking like. But before we get into the weather, we have our Raising Cane forecast 2024. You guys liked the Raising Hail forecast tour that we had, so we decided to do a hurricane forecast as well for this year. That's June 18th out in Orlando, Florida. You can scan that QR code up above me to get your tickets and register. Come out and see us, see Derek give his hurricane forecast, what we're expecting for this year. Looking like it could be a fairly active year, especially compared to the previous couple of years. Things are heating up in the oceans quite a bit, so it could be a fairly high-end year for hurricanes going into peak hurricane season later on in September. So this is what we had for yesterday. Quite a few storm reports, a lot of wind reports as well. Starting up north, had some decent hail out in South Dakota and North Dakota, just barely into Minnesota, far out in southeastern Minnesota, out near the Rochester area. A couple of tornadoes as well, and then similarly down in Kansas and Nebraska, some decent hail down there, but Nebraska got hit with some very strong winds, up to fairly close to 100-mile-an-hour winds out of some of the storms out there. So fairly strong winds there. Zooming into northern Texas and Oklahoma, we had some decent hail. I believe the largest hailstone measured was around that 6 to 7 inch size. That was in a rural area though, so not many homes got impacted by that, but some very large hail, a nice tornado out of that storm as well. Had some pop-up storms around the DFW area, dropping some hail out there. Nothing super big impacted the DFW metro, no super long tracks going through the entire metro area or anything like that, but a lot of different smaller areas got hit around the metro with up to golf ball sized hail in a few of those spots. And then zooming in down south, Fort Stockton got hit with some pretty decent sized hail out there. Had a tornado pop up from that storm as it moved off to the southeast. So a fairly active day yesterday, not super high end or anything like that, but a lot of different areas got hit. So here's what we have for today. Have a nice little low pressure system setting up in Kansas, got a little boundary going through the entirety of Texas as well. Zooming into what we have going on in Oklahoma right now, the storm shifted a little bit farther south from where I had it set up originally, but a nice little squall line moving southeast across Oklahoma this morning and into the early afternoon hours. Some severe thunderstorm warnings for wind and smaller hail. With that as well, this is expected to continue to move off to the southeast. The tail end could hit the DFW area over the coming hours, and then as this system clears out, notice these clear skies behind it. A little bit of an outflow boundary should set up behind these storms, and that could trigger some storms later on this afternoon, potentially some stronger severe storms that could get into the OKC metro. So right now the storms are clearing out of the metro area right now. Mainly just some thunder, some moderately heavy rain, but the severe risk is farther off to the southeast near the McAllister area for right now. And then around the rest of the country, we have Nice little trough setting up the Pacific Northwest, bring some scattered rain showers up there. Notice we have another little trough over the Midwest. That'll trigger those storms later on in the evening for the Milwaukee area, and we have a short wave again over the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles that should trigger those storms later on this afternoon. Temperatures heating up quite a bit as well. Already get almost 90 degrees down in Houston, 65 degrees right now in OKC after that rain moves through, those clouds clear out, things should heat up fairly quickly. Still expecting to get into the 80s later on this afternoon, so looking fairly nice for this afternoon. Here's what we have for our future radar here. This system will move off to the southeast later on in the afternoon, clear out, and then we could get some pop-up storms going into the afternoon or late evening hours tonight that could move through the OKC metro, producing some possibly severe hail. Those will grow into a line pretty quickly, though, as we go into the very early morning hours tomorrow. Could move through the Dallas metro, some possible tail end storms clipping DFW around that 5 to 6 a.m. time frame. So that's what we're looking at for that area. And then looking at what we have a little bit farther east here, this line will move into the Arkansas area. Little Rock could get some decently strong wind, possibly some smaller hail. Not expecting anything super big out there, but they do have a small risk for some severe weather later on this afternoon, late evening, early morning hours tomorrow. Here's what we have for our hail map today. Got our highest risk for large hail kind of along the Red River, Wichita Falls area, Oklahoma City. Got a medium risk for that larger hail today. DFW, Little Rock, all smaller risks, but that risk is still there. If hailstorms do form over the DFW area, expecting up to golf ball sized hail with some of those storms. Could see up to 2.5 inch hail in some of these storms around the Wichita Falls area later on in the evening. So some possible big hail, very conditional risk. Just depends on how much those clouds clear out, how much the ground heats up after this morning rain. But we'll see how things go. Out in the Milwaukee area, got a decent sized risk, so bordering along the Chicago area. Not quite getting fully into the Chicago metro, but just on the outside of that, we could see up to some $half sized hail out in that area. So here's what we have for tomorrow, though. It's looking like the Omaha area is probably going to see the largest risk for severe weather going into tomorrow. See some storms start to fire up late in the afternoon, early evening hours, starting in Minnesota. Those will turn linear pretty quickly, but when they're still more isolated, that's when that larger hail threat is going to be. So it could be more of a wind threat tomorrow, but start off as a little bit of a hail threat. Not super widespread storm coverage, but that risk is still there for severe weather out in the Omaha area. And then the severe weather threat will diminish pretty quickly as we go into the overnight hours for tomorrow. Looking at our jet stream here, not a whole lot going on, so nothing to drive a super big outbreak, but we do have a lot of these little wiggles in the jet stream causing those just enough of a disturbance to kick up some severe weather this afternoon and evening. And then going into tomorrow, Wednesday, we could see some severe weather possibly in the Great Lakes area, but that risk is very conditional out there, just depending on how much moisture they can get after the storms move through today and tomorrow, looking at that severe risk for Wednesday. And then we're going to see a decent sized ridge start to build in from the west here as we get to the end of the week and into the weekend, bringing in a bunch of warmth. The temperatures expected to get into the 90s for Texas, Oklahoma, portions of the Gulf Coast. Very warm, not expecting too many severe storms at that time, at least until this ridge clears out. This system may be enough to kick out that that ridge, though, and bring some more severe weather to the central U.S., but we'll see how things play out as we get a little bit closer to that time frame. Here's our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, expecting drier than average conditions for the northern U.S., wetter than average conditions for the Four Corners regions, and pretty much normal precipitation expected for the any areas east of the Mississippi River. As for temperature, things are expected to get fairly warm. So notice the heat building in from the west as that ridge is expected to set in. It'll push those cooler temperatures out as we get beyond that 10-day time frame. And then since we are now officially in summer, June, July, August is meteorological summer, here's our 3-month precipitation outlook, expecting drier than average conditions for areas pretty much along the Front Range and slightly farther west and east of that. Wetter than average conditions for the southeast expected for that time frame. So it might be a slightly drier summer than usual, but we could still see some pop-up storms, more isolated storms, less widespread precipitation throughout the Central Plains is what is expected. But for temperatures, things are expected to be fairly warm for pretty much the entire country. Unless you're in portions of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, you're expecting above average temperatures. So those of you who like the heat, this is the summer for you. Things are expected to warm up the most, though, be the highest above average for the Four Corners area, parts of Texas as well as Louisiana, expecting some fairly warm conditions over this summer. So that's all we got for today. If you're interested in learning more about us, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Or if you're interested in purchasing a plan, go ahead and scan that QR code up above me, or give us a call at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com, or check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Joey Cragness. Thanks for watching.